Welcoming Peter Malnati into the media center here at the Texas Children's Houston Open. Peter, you're coming off your first win in 9 years, just at the Valspar Championship. What's this last few days been like for you, and how you feel coming into this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a whirlwind. Sorry, that's gross. In all the best ways, it's been a whirlwind, and I've tried to really enjoy it and soak it all in. But there's been, I can't tell you how many people have texted and called, and I've gotten some. I don't know if anyone happened to see this or not, but I was a little emotional after the win, and some of the people that have reached out, just it brings those emotions all back up again, just to see how how cool this all is. But now definitely I'm able, a couple days now in, able to turn my sights a little bit forward and realize, like, hey, this doesn't need to be viewed as like the pinnacle. It could be the start of something, and so I would not say I'm entirely focused yet on playing and working again. I still am enjoying it a little bit, but starting to get back into that mode of like wanting to do my job and keep building from here.
This week you've played this course a couple of times in the past. Just what are your thoughts on it, and how do you feel about it this week?
It's a completely different course. I played 9 holes yesterday, being a different time of year, and now with a cool season grass, having overseeded the course is just, this used to actually, the 2 times I've played it before, I think I'd probably possibly be in the minority of tour players who would say this, but I kind of loved the fact that it did have a bit of a muni feel. Like it felt like a course that any Houstonian could just come out and play, and that's not something we really get on tour a lot. We tend to play perfectly manicured, country club type feeling courses that are just in immaculate condition, and that's how this course has been when we played it in the fall. That's not how this course has been when we played in the fall. It's been a little rough around the edges, and then this year it comes in. It looks much more like what we're used to on the PGA Tour. It's immaculate, no blade of grass out of place, and that's obviously a really good thing, and a huge compliment to the staff here for the job they've done to get it that way. But because of that, it really doesn't feel like the same course we played, and it'll play much differently. So I'm excited. I feel like it's kind of a, even though it's not the first time we've played this event, it feels kind of like the first time we've played it here, and I think everyone would sort of echo that. But like I said, it's really fun to be spoiled and play perfect golf courses all the time, and so this one just fits right into that, and I'm super excited. It's a great golf course in that it has tons of variety. There's several extremely long holes. There's a couple of great short holes. There's some really, really good par 3s. So it'll be another very, very exciting PGA Tour event.
We'll open up the questions then.
First of all, congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
I did watch it on TV, and you were emotional, and it was a good emotion. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, the fact that, you were already going to play in this tournament, but, you had to be, you were already committed, on Friday, and you ended up winning this last week. Was there any thoughts of taking this week off and just relaxing or just doing whatever you need to get done, or do you want to just kind of keep playing while you're hot? Yeah,
I mean, I definitely, as much as your head, like, maybe Scotty Scheffler and those guys, maybe they're so good at winning that they just, it's normal for them and they're right back in their normal routine the next day. That certainly isn't the case for me yet. So there was definitely the thought on Sunday night and Monday morning of like, oh my goodness, I could use a week to just wrap my head around this kind of new reality that I have. But, I was, I come back to this a lot. 16-year-old me dreamed of playing in one PGA Tour event. And now, obviously I'm not the same place I was as 16-year-old me. I'm not even the same place as I was starting the week last week at the Valspar Championship. But this is still one PGA Tour event. I dreamed of playing in these, and so it's not like a burden to play a PGA Tour event ever. It's an amazing thing, and I was committed to this event, and I'm here, and I'm incredibly excited to tee it up again on the PGA Tour.
I'm sure you addressed this, but what's the story with the yellow ball? How long have you been playing with it?
Yeah.
What was the reasoning?
Yeah, I switched to it in the summer last year at the 3M Championship, and really, really a lot of research went into it, studied the physics of everything, and that's completely untrue. My 3-year-old son likes it. That's the reason.
With all the changes in kind of the last 72 hours for you, have you really had time to, I know you said you thought about whether you wanted to play this week. Have you really had time to think about how much maybe your schedule is going to change in the next month, 6 months, and just all that comes with the win?
You know, I've only been able to think about the good things that are going to happen. I haven't thought about the tough decisions I'm going to have to make in terms of, you know, where I will take a week off here or there now. Because those, like, one thing that I've done in my 10 years on tour, I've made awesome relationships with, you know, host organizations, tournament staff, volunteers, and so, like, you know, to call a tournament director and say I'm gonna have to drop your event this year will be really hard for me. So I haven't bothered thinking about that yet, because that is going to be so hard. But what I have thought about are, like, the places where I was unsure that I would get to play, where now I know I'm going to be playing. Like, you know, I joked but wasn't joking in my press conference after the win that I've always told the tournament director at the Travelers Championship that that's my major on tour, because I love the course, I love her, and, you know, it was certainly, you know, I would guess prior to last week you'd have to say, if you asked Vegas, it was more likely than not that I wouldn't be playing at the Travelers Championship this year, and now I am. So I've thought about all the positive things that are going to come from this, and, you know, obviously no one plays every week, no one needs to play every week, no one can play every week, so it's not really a negative that I'm going to drop events from my schedule. It's just hard for me because of the relationships I've formed in all the towns where we play. It'll be hard to have those conversations and tell people I'm not coming. But at the end of the day, you know, 4 days ago, no one cared if Peter Malnati was in their field or not, really. And now hopefully they you know, it's just the reality of the deal. Like, no one can play every week, so I'm going to have to drop some events. But the exciting, great things that come from this are obviously what are top of mind, front of mind right now, and that's, you know, my family and I are all kind of over the moon about it.
9 years between wins. Now that you've had a little bit of time to kind of process, it seems like you still are, what was the biggest difference between winning this week? Was it getting to celebrate just with the family compared to 9 years ago? Yeah,
absolutely. And the other thing, like, you know, I feel like 9 years ago at Sanderson Farms, this isn't the right way to frame it, but I sort of won almost by accident. Like, I was there, we had terrible weather that week. I had to play 27 holes on Monday. And when I went out to play those 27 holes on Monday, I was in good position starting the day. But my only thought was, you know, I'm in the at the time, nationwide tour, web.com tour category, now, you know, Korn Ferry. Like, every single point that I can get will help me get more starts. So my only thought starting that day was, like, do your best, move up, try to have a good finish and get some points. And I never even thought winning the tournament was possible. And this win was significantly different in that I went into the weekend and Sunday knowing that if I go do my job, if I go play well, I'm playing great, this course is great, I could win the tournament. And so, like, from the moment I teed it up on Sunday, my thought process was do your best on each shot, but, like, the narrative in my head had already started, like, you can win this golf tournament. And so that was kind of cool to sort of deal with that. Whereas, like, in Jackson, when I won and was so lucky to win the Sanderson Farms tournament, I just kind of was out there, like, would have been, if you told me at the beginning of that Monday that, hey, Peter, you can finish 12th and not play, I'd been like, thank you, take it. And so that was like, I called it, I almost won by accident. And this week was, or this win was more like, so it felt different in that sense. But, at the end of the day, the result at the end feels amazing both times.
In this course, with being in the spring and the overseed, how would you say specifically the course will play different this week, I guess both off the tee and then around the greens?
It's interesting. Like, I think this is a pretty challenging course, but these conditions that it's in are going to make it easier. Like I was really surprised yesterday. I played the back nine really late yesterday. It was nice. It was really peaceful. But my very first drive on 10, I just tugged it a little, no big deal, but I was definitely going to miss the fairway left. And in the years past, like, you couldn't control it at all out of the rough. And I got there, and it was like I might almost prefer to hit out of this overseed first cut rough. It's like a first cut length, perfectly immaculate stand of grass. So you still need to. It's important that you drive it decently well, because you've got to keep it. You got to keep it on the overseed, and some of these holes are so long that if you get off on the wrong angle, it's just going to make them extremely long. So like, it's not like driving won't matter, but you can certainly get away with a little more dispersion off the tee now than you could in the fall. And then also around the greens, you could really get some of those, like, I'd call them like normal golfer lies in when we played here in the past. Like you could get some grainy, sandy, kind of make you real nervous sort of lies for chipping the ball. And now, like, this overseed around the greens is absolutely pure. The greens are still challenging because of the way they sit up and run off. Like, there will be some guys, maybe me, but there will be some guys look silly around the greens because the greens are in a challenging design. But you're going to have really pure, good lies around the greens. So you'll have the option to play different kinds of shots and won't be able to blame the turf on anything, or turf for anything that goes wrong. So in theory, it should make the course play a little easier, but there's still plenty of elements out there that'll be challenging.
In hole 17, how do you think that'll play different? Did you play hole 17 yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I played it yesterday from the back tee. So it almost, like, they definitely moved the green, made it a really, really cool approach. From the back tee, it doesn't change the hole tremendously. But with the tee up, it's very much a cool, drivable hole now. And I think it'll be fun to watch guys have a go at it, because the green, like, obviously if you go for it, the likely miss would be left of the green. The green slopes toward the water from left of the green, so you have to see some guys do some great short gaming, and somebody, maybe they'll make it drivable on Sunday, and you'll see someone step up and make a really bold play and hit one right on the green and have an eagle putt on Sunday. I think that'd be really cool.
Peter, too, from me, you talked about the differences between winning 9 years ago and winning last week. I'm curious about the shots you hit down the stretch at Valspar, in particular the tee shot on 17. Like how much will that pay off 6 months from now, 2 years from now? Just you went out and got that tournament. You went out and won that golf tournament. Yeah,
I mean, that was really cool, because you never know. You never know until you do it how you're going to react in those situations. And I've worked extremely hard, and my game, particularly my long game, it has been improving. But for it to hold up in that situation, I was talking about it last night on the phone. It really seemed like, and I don't know if this is right or not, because I don't know what other players are doing. I was watching boards, but I'm not watching coverage. I don't know. It seemed to me like I had the feeling that after my putt went in on 12, I felt like I was in control of the tournament. That's how it sort of felt to me. And so from that point on, I really only hit one bad shot, and it was my approach into 16. That's pretty cool. That's really, really cool to play that stretch of holes, which has got a lot of tough, demanding shots on it. And I only hit one shot that I really felt like obviously I drove it in the bunker on 18, but that was a really good drive. It was so close. I only hit one shot in the last 7 holes that disappointed me. That, to me, was such a buoying thing to see, like, hey, you've done the work and your game's ready for that situation. That was cool.
And secondly, as you know, it's been a challenging couple of years in the professional game. Do you have a sense why your story seems to resonate, maybe even beyond just a casual golf fan? You're standing there crying on the 72nd green with your son in your arms in his superhero cape, and it just seems to have kind of transcended the game.
Yeah, I think, I think at the end of the day, you remember, like, we can all probably remember when we were kids, and we were all kids at different times, but the things that moved us, that we watched, that, like, I remember watching Jordan in the 97 Bulls. I remember watching Tiger in the 2000 Masters. I didn't care one iota what Jordan's contract was. I didn't care one iota what the winner's check at that U.S. Open was. And I think people are sick of that. I think people are just sick of the narrative in golf being about, contracts on live, purses on the tour, guaranteed comp on the tour. I think people are so sick of that. They want to see sport. They want to see people who are the best in the world at what they do it at a high level, and celebrate that. Celebrate the athleticism. Celebrate the achievement. And obviously, this is a business, and to the top players who drive a lot of the value in this business, we've got to compensate them fairly. We've got to make that happen. But I think we're doing that and above and beyond. And the narrative, the storylines, the conversation needs to come back to the product on the course and what we do. And I think, for me, that was like, I just feel like no kid dreamed when they were watching Jordan dreamed of having his salary. They didn't care about that. They dreamed of being in that moment and hitting that shot. And I think that's what our fans care about too, and that's what they want to see. So I hope those tears that I was crying on that 18th green had nothing to do with my share of that. What was it, an $8.4 million purse last week? My tears had nothing to do with my share of that. I'm going to enjoy it. We're going to use it to do a lot of good in this world. But that had nothing to do with that. And I don't think our fans care about that either. So I hope that connected with some people. And, I hope that can be – I do think everyone out here who plays and competes would agree with me on that. I just hope that can be, the story that we tell can come back to the best athletes in the world competing on the biggest stage in the world and doing it, to show off this amazing skill that we have that can be so entertaining for people. I want that to be our story.
I want to ask you, you're playing with Scotty this week, and how much have you played with him, if at all, and what impresses you about his game and just the run and crazy numbers that he's had recently?
Yeah, like I kind of joked when I saw my pairing come out. I'm like, yeah, they're just, makes sense. They're putting all the best ball strikers on tour together in a group. They want to see us out there, just have a ball striking contest, me and Scotty and Will, and it'll be great. I got to play. Anytime anyone asks me about Scotty, I bring it back to Tiger, because I watched Tiger play when I was a kid. I played with Tiger when he was, I would think he would not mind me saying this, like well past his prime. I played with him in 2019, the last 2 rounds at Riviera. And he went on to win the Masters a couple months later, so even though he wasn't prime, he was still pretty good. And the thing that impressed me when I played with Tiger was even 2019, a little bit hobbled, well past his top form, he was by far the best iron player I've ever seen. Ever seen. And so to see that Scotty Scheffler over years now has put up similar type strokes gained numbers to Tiger, that is phenomenal. So I haven't played with Scotty in probably 3 or 4 years. I played with him at whatever it was called, the tournament at Mayakoba, and you could see obviously how impressive he was then, but like to see him sustain that performance over years and put up, Tiger in his prime type approach numbers, and then out on top of that, he's also one of the best drivers of the golf ball. Like, it's no wonder this guy is, number 1 in the world by a lot.
All set? Good. All right. Thanks, Peter. Good luck this week.
Thank you.